Step into the shadows on Hot Talk Radio's horror broadcast, where screams linger and fears are vast. If you're brave, lend an ear to the chilling tales we steer. Join us, night spirits, for Halloween updates premiere.
Welcome on in. If you're hearing that opening dulcet tones, that's right, we're talking about some more deep dive on some Halloween Horror Nights 2025, the 34th iteration for here in Orlando. Hollywood has a bit of a more storied history, a bit more nuance. If you go back to some of the early episodes, Dave and I cover that. But your host here, Brandon, talking Halloween Horror Nights. The new Spec Map is out. We're definitely not talking about it late or nothing. You know, it surely came out earlier this week. But Park Talk Radio available across all platforms your podcast listening needs, Spotify and YouTube included. Voicemails and text messages to the good old phone number 407-490-2220. And, of course, social media at Park Talk Radio. Content creator Brennan, always pumping out the goods. And hey, we got some more episodes coming. We got some good content. And on this Tuesday coming up, Brennan, for the first time, first member of the show, heading over to Universal Epic Universe. We'll have the hits, the greatest, and the reviews from her coming up soon. And I myself will be joining her in about a week's time on the 26th to see Epic Universe for the first time myself on one of those awesome preview days. Today, however, we are covering the new Spec Map coming out from Horror Night Nightmares for the 2025 horror season, Halloween Horror Nights. We're going to go over both Hollywood and Orlando, and we'll cover what I think is going to be there, what is probably getting changed, and what Nightmares has pushed out to us. Starting off first with Halloween Horror Nights Universal Studios Hollywood. Now, I've only been to the event one time. It was incredible. It was great. Had an excellent adventure. Most excellent with our boy ZJ. And of course, with our awesome listener, Brian. Checked it out. Got to do the VIP experience. Thank you again, ZJ. And was able to check out all the offerings. Some great differences to their event to Orlando. And some not so good. But go on back, check out some of the old archived episodes. They're not archived. They're out there and available, of course. Go back and listen to our coverage on that. I will say one of the biggest pieces was the show inside the Water World Stadium Theater. And they did a purge show in there with some crazy good blood spatter effects and a pretty neat story. Utilized the area very well. And we're going to start off immediately with that. They are bringing it back. Of course, why wouldn't you? Very popular. I will believe it even won some awards. And it's a great crowd suck. Get them out of the lines for the rides, out of the lines for the houses, and give your poor little footsies a rest from walking around the upper and lower lots. Now, there's also another unknown labeled show. This is typically within the DreamWorks Animation Theater. When I went 2 years ago, they had a little sizzle reel with a lot of Blumhouse properties, Megan, some Five Nights at Freddy's, and then the lights turn off and a horde of Megans are inside the theater with you. Spooky dukes. I don't recall what they had there last year for the 24 season, but you can expect another show taking place within. Now, Scare Zones, they will reside in the upper lot as they always do. 4 different ones. There's always, at least as long as I can remember, and definitely since Murdy has been in charge of the West Coast event, something to do with crows, and those crows have a Z included. We definitely have a symbol here representing a crow, and then 3 unknown scare zones to come in. Usually these will have something with a Z. We had toys before. We had crows of a multitude of different pieces. You have 3 other scare zones yet to be known. Those are some of the last ones that are accessible by leakers, speculators, and other individuals who have some insider knowledge to the event, as the houses are built in secrecy, mostly inside either a soundstage or a temporary permanent tent structure. And you can see that the storyboards are out. You can see, and by you, I mean the people who work on the event, see how the construction is coming along and what they are visualizing, what is being seen inside the house, and available for them to peer and bring to the good people here who cannot wait for the event to kick up once again. So we have one known show for sure, one known scare zone. What it actually entails beyond crows is unknown, but they've had baby crows last year. Got crows again. 3 other scare zones and one other show inside the DreamWorks Theater. Now, to your houses on the Hollywood, going clockwise, starting on the bottom left of the map. You can follow along as always. Again, shout out Horror Night Nightmares. Pretty much the only standing forum that exists still in the Horror Night sphere. Good people over there. They provide these spec maps every season, several at a time, throughout the build-up to the full event reveal. And if you're following along at home, you'll see on the left Ube venue. You have a film reel with 5 different cells in there and blood dripping from it. Now, original lovers, hey, you're thinking, oh, of course, Slaughter Cinema. Probably not. This is going to be more of an IP, one that has been long sought after by both internal team members who work on the event and our fellow multiple Go visitors as fans of Halloween Horror Nights. This is more than likely going to be another attempt on Scream. This is a highly sought after IP, very popular right now. We've had 2 legacy sequels in the past few years, and this one may be Scream, the original one from the 90s, Drew Barrymore, but more so Neve Campbell and Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, coming to the Ube venue. This will be a shared IP with the Orlando side. Usually IPs are going to be shared between the two. Saves on spending, saves on creation, as there can be some very similar scenes, and helps, collaboration across the coast. So we're probably going to see Scream here at the Ube venue. Moving along to the Parisian Courtyard. This is in between 2 structures in your 2 permanent structures. One is Mel's Diner, and the other one is another eatery. Though over there in Hollywood, you're going through the alleyway, has been covered with tarp and tenting. Monstrose, the first one, has been in there previously when I went. Parisian Courtyard is a picture of a small, what appears to be a doll with some attachments, maybe some more of the Latin American influence. And right now we are feeling that this is going to be the Island of the Dolls, or La Isla de la Muñecas. La Isla de la Muñecas. Or the Island of Dolls. Now, this is as the name would imply, an island full of dolls located in Mexico City, and it is as described. Just dolls strewn across heads, full dolls, pieces, bits, hung, attached, adorned all throughout. And inherently, it's already incredibly creepy just seeing these dolls hung up there. Take a look at the images. You can go on your favorite search engine and see them. And of course, with the outdoor weather impacting them, they're decrepit, they are falling apart, dilapidated, and just gross and disgusting. And of course, we've had Dollhouse at the Dam previously in Orlando. Incredible house, just a lot of dolls everywhere. They had the baby powder stink. This will probably have more of that musty outdoor humidity, and the rot and mold. Parisian Courtyard, gonna be some spooky ass little doll things. Continuing along in the Mummy queue, an unknown property at this time. Beyond that, that's all we have as far as speculation goes for Hollywood. Hollywood sometimes has a bit more unknowns than Orlando. It just depends on who has the insider knowledge. Again, particular leakers, speculation, and so on. Unknown at this time. Soundstage 12. Another shared IP between both coasts. We have a magnifying glass, and inside it is a picture of a simple drawing of a ghost. The little ripply pillow-like lines at the bottom, big oval on top, 2 dots for the ghost eyes. Now, this is a bit of a contentious place, as we have seen and observed that this could be one of 3 different properties. Casper, the friendly ghost. Maybe he's not so friendly this go around. Least likely. And we'll go in order from least to most likely. Second up would be The Conjuring. Now, this is also a highly sought after IP owned by Warner Brothers. Very famous series. The first 2 are incredible, the spin-offs, and the third one not so hot. The 4th movie, Conjuring Last Rites, does come out this year in September. Be a great little collaborative tie-in and could work. Now, what makes this first one the most likely, this last one that I will tell you about most likely, as it's been a previous house, and based on the construction design and the outline silhouette of the particular facade going in front of Soundstage 12 is almost near identical to the previous house that is maybe making a comeback, and that is probably going to be Poltergeist here. We saw that this was a very popular house in its original iteration. This was back in 2018? I'm trying to recall. That may be too long ago, but hey, 2018 Orlando, that is. And Hollywood. I believe they're the same year. Poltergeist coming back, again, popular house, well-received, scary, has some really cool sets, and Poltergeist is a timeless classic horror with Tobe Hooper as the director, Spielberg being influential on it. Could come back. Like to see Conjuring. I believe Six Flags and Cedar Fair Parks has the rights to that, as they did last year, and possibly the year before. Unknown if it does make its debut here in the Horror Nights realm. Moving along then to Soundstage 15, another shared IP that seems very locked in. You have a thumbs up, the right hand giving a thumbs up, the four other fingers curled in, and it's been chopped off the wrist. So what is a popular IP, well, very popular now after the show's debut last year, that has some pretty neat horror elements? I think it's more of an action dystopian. However, there's some great horror aspects to it. That's going to be Fallout. You have Ella Purnell and Walter Goggins starring in the newest series. Very popular. The games have always been a great influence to post-apocalyptic, some scary elements with the different ghouls and the mutated monsters, super mutants, big scary motherfucker guys. It's Fallout. I don't think there's much more on it. If you've not caught the show, that's a great introduction. I would imagine it's probably going to be based off... It might be based off the show, because that's what's popular and in the zeitgeist of popular media at the moment. However, the game may be a bit more attainable without needing to pay and utilize the likeness of Ella Purnell or Walter Goggins or any of those characters from the show. T-Pad, that's down in the lower lot as well. Just a open parking lot that has been built around a tent. You got a nice little security camera silhouette hinged on the wall, pointing downward. They've been trying for several years. Five Nights at Freddy's is the only one that I could possibly imagine is represented by this particular imagery. Five Nights at Freddy's, you know the deal here. It's been shown in the Hollywood parks just as the static figures behind glass to show the costumes. It's a scary movie. It did really well. It was worked on by Universal. I think it's time. If everything is getting lined up and appropriately constructed as intended, you're going to see that. And again, this is another shared IP between the two parks. Continuing along, the Terror Train, unknown. We had, The Purge last year? 2 years previous, we had the Exterminators with the big, scary bug boys. Terror Tram's always a fun addition and definitely a different deviation from what Orlando can offer, as we don't have a tram. You get on the Backlot Studio Tour tram, takes you down there. You get off at the Bates Motel. You walk through an extended scare zone. You walk past the Mrs. Bates' house. Norman's out there being scary, and then you walk along and through the War of the Worlds set pieces with another long scare zone, and then the Nope scare zone as well. But who's hosting or who is influencing it with an IP or not this year? Again, unknown. H-Lot T2, that's Tent 2. You're seeing 2 trash bags. Now, again, this is pretty straightforward. We only know, of one relevant, rather more contemporary, scary horror figure that's been sought after, by a particular set of crazed fans who carries his stuff in 2 garbage bags. He's mean, he's gory, he's unrelenting. Art the Clown from the Terrifier series. Now, if this is going to focus on the newest film that came out last year, where it's set around Christmas time, or maybe the first or second one where it's less seasonally focused, is unknown. But this is finally the year Terrifier makes his debut. Shared IP, again, between the two coasts. And then finally, H-Lot T1, Tent 1, we have what appears to be a burlap sack with a patch strewn up, laid up top of a figure, someone's head, and then a small string knot tied around the neck. Prevailing theory here on this one is that there's going to be the return, which is odd because we're getting another dedicated version of this in Hollywood that also opens this year. A return to Scarecrow the Reaping, or something along the lines of Scarecrow, of course, that looks like it. Could be something from Resident Evil. Very unlikely, but there are numerous characters, I believe in Resident Evil 4, who come out, attack Leon with the burlap sack or coverage on their head. It's probably not Texas Chainsaw. We would have seen probably a bit more of a dedicated imagery, a chainsaw, meat, something of that sort. And we just had that awesome legacy combined house for Texas Chainsaw last year here at Hollywood. So Scarecrow the Reaping, Murder of Scarecrows, something that Scarecrows, of course, with a Z. Yet to be known. But that wraps up your Hollywood spec map. Get some cool shared IPs, the originals with the scary spooky dolls, an unknown in the mummy queue, and then Scarecrow. Zzz. Be sure to update you more as we get them. Now, over to Orlando. Now, this is the big one. A bit more options here. We'll again start on the left side, moving around after we go through the scare zones and shows. As of right now, no scare zones are known. We have the 5 that are always available, always there every single year. Down into Hollywood on the right, down the Avenue of Stars Avenue of Stars Hollywood on the right, main entryway on the left, New York, San Francisco, and then in front of Mel's Die-In, of course. 2 shows, allegedly this year. We were allegedly supposed to have 2 last year. That never popped in. Now, 2 shows. Of course, the gimme. Don't even need a spec map to tell you. Over in the Fear Factor Stadium, you're going to have Nightmare Fuel once again. What is this, the 5th year of this? The circus one last year, I mean, I remain stalwart. Every year, it gets less exciting, less entertaining. At least for me. Go back to more music, or more magic, rather. Give me more stunts. Give me more tricks. Bring back Brian Brushwood. Bring back Tenpenny Circus. Bring back even the Rocky Horror Picture Show review. Nightmare Fuel Series 5 is upon us. But it's a great show. It wins awards. It's not me. It's not for me. It's not for Dave. Brandon loves it. Go see it. Enjoy it. Let the crowd suck you in. And now with this year, as Universal Orlando was debuting Universal Sensational. The new Lagoon show then incorporates lasers, water, fireworks, projections, drones maybe? They were taken away after an incident at Lake Eola, Orlando last year, and they've not returned as of today. Oh, we're recording on Thursday, April 17th. You're getting the same day recording. I got another one to pump out tomorrow. Yeah. However, we're seeing potentially a Horror Nights-focused dedicated water lagoon show for this go-around here in 2025 Orlando. I would love it. They've done this before, back with the Universal 360. That was, back in 2016? They did one with the Sweet 16 for Icons director, storyteller, caretaker, and Jack. Having something again this year, especially with drones, really adding to the kinetic pieces all around the theme park this year. Bring it on. I am totally with you. 2 year houses, 10 houses again this year. Nothing new, nothing surprising. There's still room for additional houses. However, we're still going to keep with 10. And based on the spec map, and next year will be another anniversary year, 35 years of Fears. Horror Nights 34, 2025. I think we're going to keep a little easier than normal. Nonetheless, Orlando, starting us off as Soundstage 23A, your entrance in between the Universal Store and Minion Mayhem. We got a picture of what appears to be a large ship cascading along some water. 2 sails and a flag adorn the top of the mast. And this one's either going to be a real cool original featuring either pirates or Vikings. Now, we've had both we've had definitely dedicated pirate houses in the past. Forsaken, one of the best houses of all time, residing in the best complete year to date, I still will argue. House of the year, phenomenal. And then Vikings, we had some Viking pieces in our house last year, which was had the tablet in it, spooky Museum of the Dead. Over there in Tent 1, Simpsons entrance. The museum, Deadly Exhibit. Nonetheless, pirates are more than likely coming here in 23A. Now, what kind of pirates? Who knows? Let's see if I have any other data on this. Still unsure, because the previous spec map that came out for Christmas had a white dove with 2 lily flowers, which was probably going to be Last of Us Part 2. That, these things change rather quickly, and houses will get built without a full sense of what's going in there being done. The layout will remain, as we've seen before. We tried to have Scream a number of years ago, and it ended up turning into the Purge house. And then a number of years ago, we tried to have a Conjuring house. It turned into the Hive. Houses get built out, and the new theme will be retrofitted into what has been created. Continuing, Soundstage 22 entrance right there by Rip Ride Rocket, or rather the Music Plaza. You got that good old thumbs up shared IP, Fallout once again, inside a soundstage. Now, over in Hollywood, they have theirs. Goodness gracious, where is it? They have theirs in a soundstage as well, so it could be a somewhat similar layout, more than likely going to be shared scenes, both inside soundstages. Soundstage 23B, this is going to be your entrance by Jimmy Fallon, Race Through New York. We got that wonderful film strip, 5 cells, dripping blood. Again, Scream is the expected owner of this location. Hollywood has theirs in the Ube venue, again, inside, soundstage, going to be more than likely great Scream addition to the lineup. Here's where we divert a little bit. Soundstage 24B over at Orlando, entrance in the back left corner between Jimmy Fallon and the Macy's facade. This one's an interesting looking guy. You have, I just want to try to paint the picture correctly here. You have, goodness gracious, what appears to be a circle. Inside the circle is a city landscape, several high-rises. On the outside of the circle, flanking both sides, are a pair of wings, white in color. On top is the skull of a demon devil, or of something of that sort. And then crossing in an X fashion on top of everything are 2 Grim Reaper scythes, with the long stick and the scythe portion on top. This is obviously going to be an original piece, Orlando Juicy exclusive. And the thought line here, we're looking at either some Grim Reapers. This term, Urban Inferno, has been tossed around a couple different ways. And this one is probably, who knows? I mean, what else is it going to be? A round cityscape with wings, cross sights, and a horned skull. As for what it is, Urban Inferno, hell has taken over a city. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. Death is coming for you with some original storytelling on what a Grim Reaper or Reapers are. I'm liking, though, the Urban Inferno line where hell has broken out in New York, and it would just really fit well since this house is located in the New York area of the park. Not bad. I say it could be really cool. I'll give my excitement rankings when we get to the end of this particular spec map. Nothing for Hollywood, or I'll go back real quick over Hollywood, but I will not be visiting that one this go around. Continuing, you have the final soundstage house, Soundstage 25, occupied by the magnifying glass with the ghost inside again. Either Casper, the friendly ghost, gotten fucking mad, finally gonna give his uncles the what for, Conjuring, and a surprise return, or a surprise attempt return. Who is that? By God, in the impact zone, it's the Conjuring. And again, the most likely one, Poltergeist. Poltergeist making its return to Universal Orlando as well. However, this is in a different location. Locations may change. Locations are something that change a bit faster, but getting the location locked down of where things are is always a little more challenging than what the actual house theme is. Fast and Furious Q, we're looking at the security camera pointing down Five Nights at Freddy's. Last year in 24, this was speculated to be Five Nights at Freddy's, and it turned into Major Sweets Candy Factory, an excellent, good house. Five Nights at Freddy's is going to make another attempt at this. Death Eaters, again, in Diagon Alley. Over in tent number 3, one of the new big boy tents down in the back lot, where you enter through the side entrance between Fear Factor and Men in Black. Make that long walk all the way down. Tent 3, we have a book with snowflakes coming around on it. Now, this is purported to be a sequel to a long-standing franchise of houses at Howling Horror Nights Orlando. This is going to be Scary Tales Christmas Edition. Now, what tales of Christmas can we focus on? Santa, of course, Rudolph, Frosty, elves, something of that sort, right? So Scary Tales, a nice demonic twist on our old classic favorites. You've had Scary Tales 1 and 2 in the past, Scary Tales Alice in Wonderland, Scary Tales, I think this is the 4th or 5th iteration in this series. I will definitely need to go back and talk about it, research some more, because I don't recall them top of mind. Dave was here, he'd nail them. 10-4, your 2 trash bags, Art the Clown Terrifier, making his debut here in Orlando as well. And then we continue on to the final 2 tents. Tent 2, in the Clockwise faction, has what appears to be some sort of robot, artificial piece of technology, or a spaceman, rocket man. Now, 2 different lines of thought here. Zyborgs is one of the instant ones that was in Slaughter Cinema 2 last year, and it's making a debut as a full-fledged house, which I'm all about. Zyborgs were cool as fuck. However, they were restricted by their costumes and the tight space they were limited to inside the house, and they had that cool, really piston machine on top, scary when it worked, with the sounds it would produce. Now, the other one that is seemingly gaining some traction, I have not seen the source of this particular leak or speculation. Seeing a lot of individuals saying that this is going to be some sort of TV-themed horror house or twisted commercials. That would be another anthology house focusing on infomercials, commercials, without actually using the IP. I'm not sure. Twisted commercials could have some legs. An entire house. Stick to Slaughter Cinema. Stick to the B movies and keep along with that. Unsure. I'd rather Zyborgs than twisted commercials or TV focus. Again, depends on execution. I thought that museum house was going to be bomb. Ended up being not so much. Ended better off with a bomb imploding inside. We'll see. And finally, 10-1, entrance over by Simpsons. We have a individual's eyes, one with an eye patch. They all making an angry eye, and then below it, a string of chains. Now, here at PTR, we got word late last year that one house had already been confirmed, and it was being pulled from Slaughter Cinema, which gives more credit to why there probably won't be 2 full-fledged houses coming out of Slaughter Cinema, and especially next to each other. It feels incorrect, feels odd. I'm not sure if they could pull that off. Nonetheless, Hatchet and Change, the Demon Bounty Hunters, are coming to Halloween Horror Nights 2025 with a full-fledged house down in the tent that was inhabited by the Museum Deadly exhibit last year, and the Zyborg Twisted Commercials house is going to be inside the Slaughter Cinema location. So that's what you got. Those are your 2 spec maps, full version 1.0. The previous one was a small 0.5 kind of Christmas present. Version 1.0. Now, there'll be at least one more, 2, or more than likely 2 more maps coming out. Tickets are not on sale yet. We're going through Epic Universe first, making sure those tickets are sold before we go into the pockets of our dear visitors. Say, hey, fork over some more. Works for me. I need that pass to Epic so I don't have to buy individual tickets. That's where we're at. 10 houses, 2 shows, 5 scare zones over in Orlando, and then Hollywood. Let's do Hollywood real quick for hype list. Purge show, of course. The DreamWorks animation, not so sure. Scare zones are, I feel, moot. Hollywood does them better. Scare zones have been pretty crap at Orlando since the Day Parade was debuted over 10 years ago. Now, as far as excitement, of course, your 2 unknowns are going to be at the bottom. Terror Tram taking above other unknown in the Mummy queue, only because Terror Tram's pretty neat. Now, the rest of Hollywood, it's a lot of IPs. You have 2 originals, the Spooky Island of Dolls and something with Scarecrows or Crows of Scare, which is going to put the Island of Spooky Dolls at number 1 because it's something new. I haven't seen Spooky Dolls in a while, and I like what they do with their relationship to Latin America in those houses with the Monstros, and Murdy really likes doing something to exemplify and show off that wonderful piece of history. After that's going to be your Scarecrows, weird one. Original houses always kick butt of the sound stages. However, I'll say Hollywood does do I feel, usually better job, or at least my one experience has done a better job with their IPs relative to Orlando. Nonetheless, you got Spooky Dolls, then Scarecrow. Probably Scream after that. That's just terror. Scary ghost face, come stabbing, thud, 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 stab, stab, stab. Everyone dies. After that, it's a toss-up. I think probably Fallout, because I think it's it's an IP we haven't seen. It definitely has some liberties in the horror realm and can be really cool depending on how the execution. Poltergeist is next. We've seen it before. Well, I don't know what your difference is going to be now unless we're diving into the crappy sequels. Unlikely. If it's The Conjuring, that will change everything up, but we're going to take what is most likely for the face value. And then finally, you're going to have Five Nights at Freddy's. Movie was fine. The fan base makes it worse, and I just don't find it altogether scary at all. And if you're doing costumes on the animatronics, it's going to be, I think, rather difficult to pull off and look real and as bulky and intimidating as it does in the games and film. If they use animatronics and show off only half of their body or something of that sort, again, execution is going to be critical. I don't have the faith. Oh, and I didn't even talk about Terrifier. What is wrong with me? Terrifier will be above. It will go Spooky Dolls, Scarecrow, Scream, Terrifier, Fallout, Poltergeist, Five Nights, and then the Two Unknowns for Hollywood. Now, Orlando, a bit more interesting. We have a bit more originals to play around with. Based on just conceptually in my head, I think that Urban Inferno really has a great chance of being something really cool and unique. So let's go Urban Inferno, followed by Pirates. Forsaken was cool. I think they can do it again. Scary Tales after that. I've always liked and enjoyed the Scary Tales property. Christmas, it's great to have. Also leads thought to why Terrifier won't be the Christmas version. Though we have seen a number of Christmas houses before, from Holidays in Hell, HR Blood and Guts. One of the Psycho Scare pieces was based around Christmas. It's a great thing. Also Krampus, of course, naturally. So I feel like it's been a little overdone. Nonetheless, originals kicking butt. Urban Inferno, Grim Reaper's Hell Comes to Earth, New York, Pirates, Scary Tales, then I don't know about the commercials, and I'm not a huge fan of Hatchet and Chains, so I'm probably going to go Scream, because Scream's awesome. One of the franchises I watch pretty frequently every year, and don't dread saying, I just have to get through my yearly watch. I really look forward to it. So Scream, then let's go with, I guess a little difficult here. I'm probably going to say Terrifier. TV commercials could be something, again, execution, so I'm going to hit the middle of the pack here. Then Fallout, Hatchet and Chains, Poltergeist, Five Nights, Once you get to the back half, it gets real fuzzy. And usually there's going to be one for sure kind of stinker in the group, and the rest kind of fall into place. And then you have your top three, of course. Right now, I think that the ones that have the best opportunity based on concept and thought, Urban Inferno, Pirates, and commercials, despite it being a lower ranking, because I'm not sure how it will be done yet. I can't visualize it. Not to say it can't be done, or that we're going to be unable to pull it off. I have faith, though. Again, prime example, Museum Deadly Exhibit did not pull it off. Not for me. That's your Spec Maps, friends. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for giving me your patience. Brandon and I are moving. It's going to be a busy time over here in the PTR studio, but I'm going to crank out another one. You're going to have double shows this week, get you caught up on the good. And then once Brennan hits up Epic on Tuesday, we'll talk about that some more. Thank you so much. Park Talk Radio across all podcast platforms. Just search Park Talk Radio at Park Talk Radio on your socials. Facebook, Instagram's our main one, with content creator Brennan put out the good. And then our phone number. Text us, call us, beep me if you need me. Let us know your thoughts on the spec maps, on what houses you're excited for, or if you have a different thought on what a house may be based on the spec map. Again, those are Horror Night Nightmares. Take it easy, be spooky, tell someone you love them, and we'll see ya.